Hi, Samantha here from Holistic Wellness. It is Q&A Tuesday. We get lots of questions that come in through our Instagram DMs or emails or through our website. So I wanted to answer your question today about intermittent fasting. Should you actually do it? What does it mean? What's it all about? So basically, listen, I get how it's kind of this big thing right now, and especially from a weight loss perspective, so many people are diving into intermittent fasting, which is totally cool. But here's what you have to keep in mind. If you've got a lot of adrenal issues going on, or adrenal fatigue, or high cortisol, or low cortisol, intermittent fasting may not be the right thing for you because it will tax your adrenals. It is a stressor to the body. So I really suggest that you work on supporting your hormonal health and your adrenals first. Really make sure you've got your diet down, you're eating delicious whole foods, you're balancing out your meals with proteins, fats, healthy carbs, and that you're staying hydrated and you're really managing your stress. That is so, so important, and especially with stress, managing your sleep, because the better your sleep is, the better you'll be able to manage your stress hormones. So that's really key. That's really where you want to start. If you feel like you got that down, then you can start diving into intermittent fasting. So a traditional way to do intermittent fasting is with the 16-8 rule. What that means is that you're eating 2 to 3 meals a day within an 8-hour window. And then that would mean you have 16 hours where you're fasting. So the time doesn't necessarily matter as long as there's 16 hours. I mean, obviously most of that time is going to be when you're sleeping. And so if you feel like 16 hours is a little too long, maybe you start with 12 hours. Make sure that your last meal, your dinner, between your dinner and your breakfast the next day, maybe you start with 12 hours. Make sure that's 12 hours. Once you feel good with that, maybe you bump it to 13, and then you bump it to 14 and 15 and 16, so you can get to that 8-hour eating window. And listen, there's no right or wrong way to do this. I mean, yes, ideally, if you want to follow it very strictly, 16-8 is the way to go. But even if you're at 14 hours, it's okay. Like, that's still a really great fast. You got to really honor your body and how you're really feeling. So if you're waking up in the morning and you feel like you're super stressed, you got a busy day and you're on the go and you're starving, I always say, like, honor that. If you're super hungry in the morning, just go ahead and eat. It's totally fine. But then you just got to get really honest with yourself that if intermittent fasting is something you really want to dive into and you want to dive into fasting specifically, you're going to have to deal with that hunger, because at first it's going to be uncomfortable. Like, there's no way to get over that. You will be hungry. So things you can do to support yourself during that fasting window: water, so essential. In fact, I recommend you put a little pinch of sea salt in your water because those electrolytes are so important. Plus, it's really great for adrenal health. So water, so important. Make sure you're staying hydrated. And then you could have coffee, black coffee ideally, or if you put a little bit of fat in there like coconut oil or ghee, that won't really break your fast. But don't put sugar in your coffee, or don't use like traditional milk and stuff that like skim milk or 1% milk. Those can actually be high in sugar. So that will derail the fasting. So black coffee is totally fine. It also does help to suppress the appetite, so it can be really helpful. And again, fats are really good during this time. So if you really need that extra level to feel satiety, like to have that, to feel satisfied, then maybe a little bit of coconut oil, you can just take it right off the spoon, or some ghee, something like that might be really, really helpful. So that can help you get through your fast. And then when you do eat during the 8-hour window, make sure it's really delicious, healthy, clean, whole foods. Don't be eating tons of sugar and tons of carbs and crappy food and fast food, because it's gonna make you feel worse during your fast. The important thing, and what fasting really does help you with, is support your blood sugar and your insulin levels. So if you are a diabetic, if you have a lot of blood sugar irregularity, or you have PCOS, this can be really ideal for you. In fact, I do intermittent fasting with a lot of my clients inside the Metabolic Reset program. This is our 8-week flagship program, and I really teach women how to do intermittent fasting specifically for their hormonal health. So if you're interested in that, there's a link below where you can learn more about the Metabolic Reset. But if you want to dive into intermittent fasting, go for it. Make sure you plan and you've got the things on hand that's really gonna support you through that. And again, keep in mind that if you've got a lot of stress and adrenal issues and cortisol issues, it might not be the best thing for you to do right now, but it will be really great to help support your insulin levels. So start small, work your way up, and that's that. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to help support you through your intermittent fast.